Good morning. We are here Friday, 8:30. How are you doing? I'm working on a project here. I'll show you in a little bit. Let me get my video moved over. What you been making? Today, we're going to try to do a little crocheting. Whoops, I actually accidentally reposted it to myself. Isn't that funny? Let's fix that. I mean, it's going twice. Yeah, look at that. Well, move that to the trash. We don't need two of those. Two of me running at the same time, right? We just need one. This time I'll share it to my group, my faceted bead page. Well, wonder why it's not going there. Okay, let's try this again. I'll hit share. I'll send it to my group and send it to faceted. Oh, that's because it's not a group. That's why. You know, they got groups and they got pages. There it is. So I'm going to send it to there. They got groups and they got pages. And there's my voice. That means you can hear me. I always check to see if you can hear me. And then it says next. What's weird is it always says next, and then I tell it share, and then it like starts all over again. Then I back out, and it's there. You haven't finished your post yet. Do you want to leave without finishing? Keep editing. Let's see if it's there. I tell it to leave, and then I'm there. See that? I'm right there. Oh, I got 66 followers. So I paid to boost to try to get more followers, and I got 66 followers. I don't know where they came from. Let's hope that the boost is working. So I can get 100 so that I can go live from my regular page. Okay. This whole technology thing is interesting, isn't it? So, welcome. I picked a project today that I've been wanting to do. I've done it before. I had to really think about how I did it because it's been a long time. It's funny, you'll make something and you're like, I made that? And then you wonder, how did I do that? So I couldn't see if I had instructions. So I just, I think I can figure it out. I do. But in the meantime, or before we get started in that, I'll show you what we did last time. We did some resin. This was a Christmas ornament I did of my pups. I think it turned out really nice. That resin, when you use it, it is not coming off. It is on there good. So I stuck a little charm. It's a little crooked up there. When I went to try to fix it, it already started to harden. But I'll hang that on my Christmas tree of my 3 musketeers. And then I did a personal charm of a dog that I had that I no longer have. And it's just about 1 inch. I wanted to put his hair in it, or her hair in it, and I forgot. So what I did was I just stuck it to the back inside of a little pretty picture. I pasted the paper and then put it on there. It's a little rough, but it's just a keepsake. So that was fun. I have a bunch of those to make for some friends back in Maryland. And so let me turn you to the table and see what we got here, because I think I've bitten off a little bit more than I can chew here, but meaning that I don't think we can get it done in a day or in our 45 minutes or so. But we'll give it a try. So let me zoom in a little. So let me show you the finished product. Here is one that I made. There's the button, and then it wraps 1, 2, 3, and then it's a crocheted beaded triple wrap. And here's the closing ends. That's the loop on the end. And then here is the closure. You put the button through there, and it's done. I added a few tails because I had extra beads. So there it is. I love that bracelet. Now, if you don't know how to crochet, it can be kind of intimidating, but you know, I probably wouldn't suggest you practice on something like this, but maybe just get some yarn and practice and then try to attempt to do it. So today you can use Ceylon. I have a bag of Ceylon. Like I thought to do like this pretty blue would have gone nice with the project. And Ceylon is a little stiffer, and it's, you know, probably easier to bead than what I picked. And this is like that wax linen. It just makes it a challenge on the end to get it in there. So today I have these pretty new beads that Nostalgica sells. I picked these few buttons to pick from, see which one I liked best in the end. And then I have these silver beads. So what I have to do is I have to leave the string on the spool, and I have to add the beads. So what I did is I went over and I counted how many beads I had on this one, because I don't have the instructions in front of me. And I do know you could measure it, but because you're crocheting, you're pulling the string tighter, so you would actually need more than you did. So what we'll do is we'll just work right off the spool, and you know, we'll get exactly what we need. We won't do it too short. I mean, that would be the big thing if we cut it and we didn't have enough thread in the end. No, I can't get this on my. There we go. I can't get it to trying to get so I can see your comments. I can't, for some reason, I'm not seeing comments. But I hear that happens sometimes. There we go. Let me say hi and see if they're working. There we go. It's like it looks different. Maybe they downloaded something different because it looks different. You know? Okay. So I counted out as many beads as I need to get on there, and I wish I could have gotten more on here than I did. So I have to proceed. I didn't count the gold ones out because I already know this is how many I need for this. So I just been adding them, and I have every once in a while I have to cut this end to make it a little sharper, a little easier to get the beads on. I really wanted to do some turquoise on here, but I tried and tried. I spent too much time trying to make the turquoise ones work. And what I do is I can't use it now, but I put fray check on the bottom of this. And if I would have done it last night, it would have probably been better. And it would have dried on there good. And then I would have been able to. So I'm going to cut it at an angle and see if I can get that to help me some. Cut it on an angle so I can get the beads to come through. And because I got it on the spool, I can, you know, I can do it. So I put 2 of these on. I'll show you my pattern. Put 2 of these on. I do like the look of this thread, but again, it makes the beading challenging. So my pattern is 2 gold, 1 each of the tri beads. They have a name, try something. I can't remember the name of them. They got a flat cut on top. Can you see that flat top on cut? on top. They look really good here. Some turquoise looked nice in there. This is what I tried to use. I wanted to put a bead, one of these in there. I thought that would have looked really nice. So, but we abandoned that and we did what we could. So then I put one of the darker colors and then one of the lighter colors on. I keep looking at my screen because I can't tell if anybody's on there. There we go. Now it looks right. I don't know what was the deal there. Okay, now we're going to use two of these. And I apologize if we have to sit here. You have to sit here and watch me bead all these to get this project going. But once you do start to crochet, it does go pretty fast. But if we get to at least getting them on there, but at this rate, where you going, Poopy? Where you going, buddy? What you getting into? I don't bring the dog down here as much anymore because he really likes to get into stuff down here. And I'm like, Pup, that's enough. You cannot get into things down here. He just tore some paper apart. I brought him a really nice bone. He was using that for a while. But he's like, he can reach the shelves down here of my crafts. And he's like, ooh, what can I pull off? I'm like, buddy, this isn't your playroom. Oh, he's getting a drink. Is it empty? Oh, let me go make sure he's got water. Do you have any water, buddy? Do you have any water? Let's make sure you got some water. Oh, you need some water. Mama, get you some water. Yeah. Got to get the puppy some water. He doesn't come down here all the time, so it evaporates sometimes. Gets empty. There you go, buddy. Have a drink. So I took him to Menards the other day, and they have beautiful, beautiful Christmas ornaments, Christmas trees up. I mean, like the yard ones, huge displays. If you want to go and just have a nice hangout, take your pup or just go by yourself. Go to Menards and just enjoy the Christmas decorations. They do such a nice job. I don't know, maybe there's 30 trees there, and it was so pretty. I took a bunch of pictures. I posted on my personal page, but and then, of course, I took the dog with me, and it's really good socialization for dogs. We think of socialization with people, but dogs need to have the sound of the carts and the people walking by. He's like, oh my gosh, everything's so big in here. And then it was funny because Santa, when we saw him the first time, Santa moved and sang. He's like, what is that? And I was like, oh my, Santa sings. And he was like life size. So this last time we saw, um, um, oh, what is it called? The green guy, the Grinch. And the Grinch had a button. You push the button and he talked and moved. And so I was kind of surprised. I thought it would only take one visit. So I'm going to go again and see how he does the next time because he's got to be, socialized. Now, you know how I got two colors of these beads. You see, I'm not looking to see what I got, and it looks fine. You can just, you know, you can just add them on there and they turn out. I'm just feeling really grateful right now because the end of that um, thread's really cooperating, you know. So I got up and listened to my nice music. I took a bath. I love taking baths. Baths are like, really relax my nervous system. And with everything going on in the world, it's nice to start my day with my nervous system calm. Because all you got to do is get on Facebook. And I really think it's by design that they want it that way. So I refuse. Oh, look, there's Sarah. Hey, Sarah. Thanks for coming, honey. It feels so nice when somebody's here. I did bite the bullet, Sarah, and I paid for an ad. I didn't pay very much, but we'll see what happens. I just got to get me some 60. I got to get me some 60 or I got 66 followers today. I must have picked up a few more, and I need to get 100 to be able to go live. It's so funny when I'll go in and I'll push the button to try to get it to work, and it gives me this warning. Well, you have to have so many, and I'm like, well, how am I supposed to get so many if I can't do it live? So I guess they just want you to pay. I understand. That's how they make their money, you know? So I bit the bullet. I only spent $35, but I'm doing it as an experiment. I want to see how this works. They claim, let me see, if I can remember, up to like over 1,000 to 11,000 views. So you would think that, not everybody does jewelry and not everybody's interested in making jewelry. So you would think I could pick up a few people that way, right? And I'm sure there's we got our people and groups we watch, but I'm sure there's a lot of other people who make jewelry don't even know about the ones that we follow. So there's a lot of people in the world. So, yeah. So it's going to be another sunny day here. I'm telling you, I am glad for all of the sunshine that we've been having. And even though it's been a little nippy and we've had to start our fireplace to keep the house warm, it's been very pleasant. Still can walk. Um, I wish we didn't do daylight savings, I can tell you that. But I got to walk early, and Zane can't get home. It's not dark light enough for now when he gets home to go with me, but I just go by myself. We kind of have a scary street to walk on. It doesn't have a line. What I do like about it is I guess because it's in the country and doesn't have a line, everybody waves at you, which is kind of cool. So now I gotta cut the end of this because it's starting to give me a little trouble again. And I'm experimenting with all my different scissors to see which ones seem to work better on this thread. And I think because it's thread's going to be thread and hard to cut either way. But, so I got one, I got to get this other one on there. See, I just cut it and refresh it. You refresh the end and it helps to move along. I tell myself, don't be stubborn, Wendy. You don't have to do this project today. You can like really delve around in it. And I'm like, no, I want to do this project. And then I have to make everybody bear with me through it. But, like there's a zillion people watching, so everybody's bearing through it, right? Only Sarah today is bearing through it, but that's okay. It makes me learn, and then it makes me add to my skills because, you learn skills not by reading about them or watching a video. You learn them by doing them, right, Sarah? Hey, Sarah, how did your market go that you went to the other day? You were telling us you were going to. Did you do well? Was it a nice day? I know that always matters for people to go out to a market. Okay. This is like watching a fishbowl. I always say doing jewelry, watching somebody make jewelry is like watching a fishbowl. Now see, because this is doubled up. It is not cutting on me. Let me try these cutters. I need to find my fishing ones. I keep telling you about how cool those are, and I want to show them to you sometime. So my paper ones did the best. Look at that nice clean cut. Ooh, I should have used my paper ones the first right off. Those did really nice. So I bought a bunch of gemstones from a gal, and they look like they'd been in storage quite a while. Um, she got most of them at like at a bead show, and I got to go through all of them. I'm gonna try a different bead because maybe that's the problem. Is the bead. You know, sometimes it could be the bead. Um, and in them, yep, it was the bead caused me the trouble. So on the last two, and I got these beautiful bracelet cases, which I wouldn't use. They just take up too much room. Look, so we got all this on there. And what I have to determine is, I think it's important to do the button end first because I just do. Because when I start to crochet these, I'm going to push these down. And we don't have to worry about them going anywhere because because they're on the spool, they're going to stay there. But why I say that is because when I start to crochet, I want to crochet this tail into the body of the bracelet. So, it doesn't matter which button I pick. I think I'm going to pick this one. I like this one. Isn't that pretty? So all I got to do is run this through. What I think I'm going to do is put a bead on each side. Let me see how I did this one. I didn't put a bead on each side. So let's see what that looks like. So that's what that would look like. Interesting. And then we would start to just crochet from there. And that's all there would be. If these beads, let me see what it looks like with a bead on each side. I just wonder about if these beads were smaller. That's the one that doesn't want to work. We don't want to try that one. But let's just see what it looks like. And this is just really preference. So I put one on one side, I run it through. Yeah, I think I like that. It's just really preference of the way you want it to look. I was like, I hope I didn't grab that one bead that doesn't want to work. Okay, let's just cut it with our paper scissors again. Work smarter, my husband would say. Not work smarter, not harder. Now I really got it frayed, don't I? I'm into keeping my lives to, 45 to 30 minutes. I don't want to be too long. Everybody is so limited on their time on things. That's why reels do so well. But let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that. That's just kind of nice. I would like them if they were a little smaller, but that's not bad. It just makes it colorful versus just like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knot that. Now this thread, of course, is waxy, and I'm going to knot it on the other side of the bead, I think. And I think I got something really twisted here because my bead got pushed up. So I'm going to have to pull it out and figure out what I got going. So I've been thinking about the holidays, and I always try to. Holidays are hard. I always say holidays are overrated. You watch okay. Holidays are overrated because we have this like Hallmark idea of what they're going to be like. And, you know, life really isn't like that anyway. But let's do this again. It's weird because I have to do it. I have to do it like this. There we go. There we go. I'm a little awkward in doing that. And I want to get that like really down to, I need something thin. Something thin. Let's use these. I want to get that way down in there. Nice and tight. Get the beads down in there. Push the thread. I do love the look and the feel. Now that's nice. There's a little movement there, but that's nice. That's very nice. So when we crochet, let me get my needle out. I did find 2 really little needles. Some recommended 5, and I tend to crochet tight, so I got me a 6, and then there's a 4. But look how small they are. That's why I say to practice, because you can people learn on big needles, and then to do small work is really, it's challenging. I'm just gonna say. So when you start to crochet, you make a loop. Now I'm trying to get my loop as close as I can to the button. And because this stuff is waxy, it is really, so I'm going to get as close to the button as I can. And I'm sure there's other ways to do this. This is just how I have done it and thought to do it. So I'm getting just, and this tail I'm going to cut off eventually, but getting as close as I can to those beads, see? And then I'm going to pull this small around my needle. And since I have quite a bit already right there, I'm just going to already bring a bead down. I'm going to bring a bead down. Well, excuse me, I'm going to crochet once. And I'm not really going to teach crocheting, but you do, because this is 2-ply, this is 2-ply, you have to relax your hands because you want a good tension all the way through. Because it's a 2-ply, you have to be very careful that you hit 2 and you're not, you know, fraying the yarn. So you want to be very gentle. So I did 1 stitch, I bring down my bead, I do another crochet stitch, and see, because it's wax, it wants to be really tight, so I loosened it up a little bit. Then I'm going to do 2 stitches, 1, 2, let me see, 1, 2, that might be where I only did 1 in between these. Let's see how that looks, but let's look. Then I bring my next bead, I do 2. So I crochet the bead, I crochet 2, then I add a bead. I crochet over the bead, which is really 1, then 2 singles without a bead, 1, 2, and then I add a bead. I crochet with the bead. Now I love to crochet, and I crochet all winter. And then 2 single beads with no single crochets with no bead. And I have to say, if you have not crocheted, this waxy stuff is challenging because it's sticky and it wants to be really tight. So that's why I say, so then you do 1, drop a bead, crochet it. Now see, I've had to pull it out a little bit because it's like if you can't feel the tension, but I'm like, it's tight and I have to pull it because we don't want it to be loose. We want it to be very nice and even. Otherwise it would really crunch up and start to bow. So we're going to do this whole thing. And then I'm going to do 2, 1, 2. Now I think my fingers are going to be tired when I'm done. Oh, look here, it's Sarah. Her weekend was good, and I bought an Effie ring for $12 that it was worth. Oh, wow. And some new guy was there selling stuff by weight. Wow. I was just working at my computer and multitasking. Wish I was making things. I know. I know. That's why you have to do a live. Start doing a live. If you want to come on and do a live, take my live time and we just be together and talk and you make something, you can do that. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. So then I drop a bead. I crochet that bead. Then I do 2 single ones. Drop a bead. Crochet. Crochet 1, 2. Drop a bead. So my beads are coming after me. And I'm not sure that we'll get to the end of this today, but I can either finish it. I crochet the bead, crochet 1, 2. If you did Ceylon, it would be probably a lot for the first. If you did Ceylon for the first time, it probably would be a lot easier. This was just my preference. I tend to always want to do the harder thing. I don't know why. It's not, no, maybe not that I want to do the harder thing. I take the challenge, but I take the challenge, but I kind of do what I like. And I like this look. I like this leather. And I'll tell you, see the tension on my fingers and it's the waxy. If you don't like that, if you don't like sticky and you don't like, having to fight it. So I did the bead, then I'm going to do 2. Drop the bead, crochet the bead, crochet 2. This was very repetitive. This is a great winter. Look how it looks. I like how they kind of lay different directions. Now, I think, if I remember, there was something she did to get us to get those beads to go to both sides, but for the life of me, I can't remember how we did that. So, and her thread looks like it was a lot thicker. I wonder if we doubled it because, but I just knew there was no way to double it and crochet it. I knew it was going to be tough to do, so we're doing a single thread. But if you did a double thread, you could, I guess, drop the bead from side to side. Drop from one side or the other side. Not quite, I'd have to think that through. Okay, the nice thing, if you forget how many you've done, you can pull one out and put your needle back in and do it again. So I see I need 2. 1, 2. I got talking and lost where my place was. Drop a bead. So Sarah is, I'm lucky I don't have meetings this morning. Good. It's Friday. That's the best day not to have a meeting, but plenty of work to do. So you must work from home. That's pretty cool. So we're going to crochet this bead. And if you got an extra crochet in when you did this, no one would even notice. We're going to crochet the bead. And then 2. So I think today is the 14th live I've done. And, jewelry's really my hobby. But I wanted to give it a go. I thought doing kits and teaching people at classes would be the funnest. And that avenue may come about yet. That we have a scrapbook store that does multiple different types of classes, and they've asked me to come. But I've kind of focused on this first, and then I'll have plenty of things to do. Let's see here, it came off the loop. That's what you have to be careful of, that you don't fray and then part of you keep moving on with your string and then you go back and there's a big missing loop. So because it's double ply, it has a tendency to unravel and do that. Add a bead, crochet. So I will eventually do maybe over there, and let me see. That's 1, so I need 2. I don't know. I've been invited. Um, I think the part is that I have to have a following locally in order to have something there because most of those people that do that are scrapbookers. And I mean, I could do something real basic. I do have two gals that bought tools and everything that are my age, and they have done a few classes with them. I did a kit, and it was fun. Even one of them doesn't have pierced ears, and she makes earrings. She buys those adapters. It's pretty fun. So I've been, um, when the holidays come, they used to be really hard. We didn't end up having children, and that was a big, life doesn't always turn out like we hope. And that was a really big, hard thing for me. And through the years, what I've done on the holidays, now that they've gotten harder, with all of that. And then, of course, now we don't have family and we live far away, and it just got, deeper. I just make a strategy. And this year I named it Strategy Living. That's my plan. And then I write it all out. I'm probably writing my meals and stuff out today. And I'll write my meals and I'll write out how I will, you know, go and help somebody else, or like Zane's work, I will make, I'm going to make them chicken. They work in a big shop with, and it's cold, there's no heat. So what I do is I'm going to make them soup. I'm going to make them chicken noodle soup. I got Hawaiian rolls. I'm going to put butter, and I made some homemade pear butter. It's just like apple butter. And so I find things that I can bring joy to myself and giving and joy to other people, so that I don't go into that weird Christmas expectation that's overrated, that it should look a certain way. And it helps. It really does help. Um, it gives me something to look forward to. Um, I, I will, unfortunately, I know more people actually that live far away than I do close. And there'll be certain people I'll send gifts to. So I'm working on those. One of them I can't wait to show you. I showed it a while back. I showed the supplies of it, but I can't wait to get that done to show you because it's pretty cool. And I told my friend, don't look at my lives. She doesn't have time, but so chances are she wouldn't. But watch her look at the one that I show her gift on. But she had bought this. She loves fiber. She has sheep. She takes her own wool. She gets it processed. Then she colors some of it or uses it natural and spins it. So she's really into fiber. Well, she got this lady who made these ribbons, and I'm going to make a bracelet out of it. She sent it to me, and I always thought, what am I going to do with it? Sarah said, I had Girl Scouts do a knotted leather bracelet for moms for Mother's Day. Just a bunch of wide hole beads for them to choose from, and 1.15 millimeter leather. Cool. That's very cool. Was that recent, or was that a long time ago, or in the past? I never even thought about what Girl Scout groups. Now you got my mind thinking about, wouldn't that be fun to do Girl Scout groups? What I do, I think that I am, as I do, like, I would say my first thing is gifting is, like, I love to design. That's probably why I do hard projects. But my second thing I would say is I do want to pass these. Isn't it turning out pretty? Um, See that? Isn't that pretty? Look at that button. Doesn't that button go great with it? Looks like a four-leaf clover, doesn't it? Now, wouldn't that have looked good with some turquoise I was just going to put a few pieces of turquoise in there, but the holes were just too hard to work with. Oh, you're trying to come up with ideas for your gifts for your parents or for your mom? From hmm Sarah says a few years ago, just trying to come up with something easy for them. Well, one of the other project I was going to do today, maybe I'll do it next week, not sure. One of my favorite things to do, Sarah, is, and I got a bunch of them, is to make a triple bracelet with just my leftover beads. You would not, it's so fun. You just make this weird, and I'll bring the ones I have and show them to you. And you just use up, and you just put different shapes, different textures, and they turn out really cool. There's another triple wrap bracelet that I like to do, and it's now that one's even more complicated than this crochet one, but it is where you macrame it with several different types of macrame. I love that bracelet, and I've made a bunch of those. And again, the cool thing with that project, now see that is really tight in there. I got to really move that to go. Um, uh, Tina's not on here today, I don't think, and she loves macrame bracelets. I'll show it to her later when I call her. But um, the macrame bracelets are amazing. But I took a whole class on that, and it would have to be a class because I couldn't do it in a live. I could show them in a live, give people ideas. Oh, you're bad at random. Oh, so what you need to do is get someone to throw you a random pieces together, and then I'm going to tell how I do it because you know design I think can be learned. I mean, it seems to come natural to me. It was one of the greatest compliments when I was first learning all this. Ooh, look, you stretch that and it pulls out some of the um, tightness. Not pretty. My mentor said to me, I just started going to her classes and everything, and she said to me, Wendy, you are very gifted at design. She said a lot of women are crafty and they love crafts and they can make things and everything. She said, but you're gifted. And that always was like, well, thank you. I didn't know that about me in doing jewelry. But when she would come up with a project, I'd sit down there and, I'd always put my spin on it and she'd always be like, cool. So So why I said that all of that was because, my first thing is design, but my second thing is I want these skills to be passed on. I think it's, like I think it would be like I think every woman should like in school should learn how to repair her own jewelry and have a pair of jewelry tools. Like, there you're in school how many years? 12 years. Then you go to college and you have to go to a jeweler to get a clasp fixed. Now there are some things with silver and gold that you have to go there, but come on. Come on, women, let's learn to fix our jewelry. I got my big ring out today because it was sitting there and it's starting to turn color, and if I wear it, it's sterling and it'll shine back up. This was my ring that I got when my friend died. She had a whole bunch, and her husband came over, and this is what he wore at her funeral. And then he came over and said, "Here, I want you to have this. This was Tammy's." And I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." So then when we went back to their house, it was so fun. We got to go to her collection. I didn't even know she had a whole collection of Southwest. It was just beautiful and amazing to see. It was just beautiful. Oh, yeah, it's hard to say goodbye to those friends. I wrote a song for her. Her anniversary of passing was just recently, and I wrote a song I saw how people were using AI. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you can like, so I didn't have much time, and I haven't written a poem for a long time. I do like to write them. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to throw this together, and it came together so nice. Now, AI, it was the free version, so no, no, that's not true. I have the free version that I ask questions, and it helps me write Facebook posts for some of the social media people that I help. But um, I did pay a little bit for the song, and the singer was, so-so. And then they like towards the end, they finished the song off even like a singer would, and they missed some of the words, but that's okay. They missed some of the words, and then they didn't pronounce one of them right, but it was pretty cool. Hey, Cameron. Oh, welcome. Um, I am originally from the East Coast. This is what I tell people. I live in the Midwest for over 20 years, but I am an East Coast girl at heart. And I traveled back there for all these years, but now, I don't have the need to go there as much. And I am itching for a project. So in Hagerstown, Maryland, they're having a bead. Now it's more of a seed bead project, and I'm not really a seed beater. I do seed beading for relaxation, and I'll do it if I find a project I like. Where are you from, Cameron? And I, um, I'm not so sure about the Hagerstown, Maryland, but my dad lives 30 minutes from there. Would that be cool? I could go there, stay with my dad, see my dad, and then go to a bead class. Eat seafood. That's what I always do. I go back and eat seafood. I probably enjoyed it more that I lived farther away because I would go do things that maybe I wouldn't have done if I lived there. I don't know. But I do. It's hard now because there's not many people left, and like the neighborhood I grew up in, I went to my home place for over 50, almost 60 years, and that's gone now, and um no one's in the neighborhood I grew up anymore. One of the last ones passed away like 2 years ago. So the whole neighborhood has you know, started over. It's turning out pretty good. I wonder where Cameron's from. I wonder if she knows me. I don't think she's on there anymore, but you never can tell with Facebook. I tried to post a video all day yesterday. I finally did get it to come on, but it would not download. So I don't know if we're going to get this done because we're coming too close to the end and I still have this much to do. And basically what I would do to end it is I would, well, first off, what's very important is I would try this on because everybody's wrist's different. And what I would do is when I got close to the end, now if I was going to do this as double wrap, I'd be close to the end. And I'd start working on the closure. And then as I did the closure, let's just say this is the closure here. As I did the closure, I'd be wrapping it around. And then what I would do is I'd start crocheting along here just a little teeny bit to tie it in. And then I'd weave my tail in just a little bit, maybe right here. And then I'd make sure, that the fit for this was really good, pretty tight, especially because this wax linen stretches. It's going to stretch. And that's how I would do it. Right now it's at double length. And I really like how it turned out. I really like the color. I like the button I picked. And so I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging on. And for anybody who watches it later, I do see that, there are people watching it. I don't know if they're watching it all the way to the end or if they're learning it or if they're learning skills, or they're learning how to do jewelry. You don't know if they just pop on, or you don't know but I really enjoy passing on what I learn, and I have an Etsy shop. You're welcome to go look at it and maybe get a few Christmas presents. If you need to contact me, I do have my phone number on there, and it's been a delight to be with you today. My pup says hey. I didn't get to really show you what I had on today. I pretty much dressed to show the nice things I have. I love this little necklace that I have. I could see me on the screen, but what's interesting on my computer is something different. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. That was just Facebook having a moment. And then, I showed my rings here. This was one of my mother-in-law's rings. It's interesting. If I hadn't gotten into jewelry, I wouldn't have appreciated any of this, And then today I wore silver. I wore my sterling silver bracelet I made. And then a little cuff link, like cuff bracelet. It's got a little flower on it. And then these. Now I have a bunch of cuffs that are coming to my Etsy shop. I am selling a bunch of 80s sterling. I also have charms on there that are from the 80s, and we kept them at the 80s price. The people that I'm selling it for, their dad had a business who sold it across the U.S. in Walmarts and Kmarts and Pennies, and when sterling took a dive and it wasn't interesting, they packed it up and it was in boxes, and they've given it to me, and I've pulled it out of the boxes and put it in inventory, and I've been slowly putting it on my Etsy shop. So right now all the charms are in, and some of them are dated. It's kind of cute, like a little pop tab, the soda pop tab. I love that one. And those have been very popular and have sold. So that's kind of fun, and I do get a nice commission on those. So that's kind of cool. So I get a little more money to buy more beads. Thanks again for coming and hanging out. You have a good day. Bye now.